Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for tuning into All Things Division 3 Soccer with Simple Coach and Jackie in memory. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Around D3. Really do appreciate it. I am recording this on Thanksgiving Day, so first and foremost, most important, I hope you have a very joyous and enjoyable Thanksgiving, that you eat a lot, double down on pumpkin and apple pie, nap a lot, watch some football, the other kind of football, and yeah, you just have a roundabout great day, or had a roundabout great day. Not sure when I'll be able to get this out, so just know that wishing you well and hope you enjoyed the day. I decided to do this episode of Around D3 just before the Final Four, so it should be a pretty great weekend, but I there were some things out there I thought I would get off the air them out and, do what I do, YouTube influence. So, first of all, in some news, in a lot of news, it's amazing how many vacancies with the season over have opened up. Number of retirements that we know of, but a lot of open positions at some pretty good schools. I am of the thinking that there is an increase in pressure on coaches overall in Division III. There's some stalwart coaches that are obviously retiring, but I think as the sport has matured, as athletics becomes a critical piece to the success of a lot of Division III schools, I think coaches are getting hired with the expectation to build something, to continue something, to elevate the stature of their school and their particular sport. I have no evidence for this other than, again, I'm surprised at the number of vacancies that have already sort of popped up. So I'm going to run through them. I'll run through the women first, which I just took. I just took a look at job openings on NCAA.com. So Mount St. Mary, Carthage College in Kenosha, Wisconsin is looking. LeTourneau, we know LeTourneau. Manchester University, and then King's College in PA just popped up over the last, I'll just say this past week, for opportunities for coaches looking to coach. I know no details, but otherwise. But on the men's side, it's quite a few more. And I would expect the women's side to open up as well. But so we know about Jay Martin retiring after a legendary career at Ohio Wesleyan. I am looking to get him on the channel. So that'll be really interesting. Heidelberg University, Nick Spell has resigned, so the men's team is looking for a head coach at Heidelberg. Huntington College in Montgomery, Alabama is looking. Greensboro College, their coach, I think, of 6 years, Manby Nepal, I don't know how to pronounce it, resigned. John Lowadice at Rosemont College resigned. He went 40, 20, and 12 in his 4 years at Rosemont, and it is remarkable what he was able to do at small Rosemont College. So I hope to see him out and about somewhere else, but who knows? But he actually remarkable what he was able to accomplish. Houghton College, after 6 seasons, Bobby McCall stepped down. They're in Houghton, New York. Lakeland University of the NCAC. They appointed Kyle Quinton to full time after he had the interim. I guess that was filled, but it was void. It was empty. Union College. Who would have thunk? Union College has an opening, as does Alfred College. Tracy Blake moves on after 8 years, so an opening there. Franklin College in Franklin, Indiana. Ralph Perez is retiring in 2025 after 18 years at the University of the Redlands. Again, you have just so many quality coaches. Bill Swartz at Pomona Pitzer after 37 years. He is retiring. So that is just a couple of those vacancies that I talked about. Again, it's going to open up, I think, between now and Christmas, and so I anticipate to see a lot of movement. Obviously, filling these positions is going to mean more than likely openings in others. So it'll be an interesting few months to see who lands where and what those programs look like. I'm going to keep track because I would love to get these new coaches on early before they actually begin, which again puts them under a little bit of a microscope before they've had a chance to even assess the program. But I think makes for a great conversation about what they're planning, what they hope to do, and whatnot. Okay, so as we know this year, 8 NESCAC teams made the national tournament thanks to the new ranking system, MPI, that picked who the participants would be outside of the automatic qualifiers, obviously. And I wasn't going to say anything, but I just thought I would. I'm sure everybody's opining and has their own thoughts. And, outside of the automatic qualifiers, how do we judge teams that, should be in the tournament? And so I came up with this number where I don't know if it's accurate, but maybe it's part of the discussion. But I'm starting to think that no more than 3 teams per conference should make the tournament. So your automatic qualifier, whoever wins the tournament or wins the league, gets the bid, and then 2 more teams max. And I'm not saying that the teams who made it specifically in the NESCAC aren't good. I think they are. I think they compete in the best conference in the country. And so it's justified if you look at it that way and you sort of take into account the schedule and how hard the NESCAC is, and if you can pull out a couple of results, it really is a booster. But I fall on the side of teams that make the tournament. They should accomplish one of the most important things in soccer, and that is to win. And I've said it all along, and regardless of what the conference they're in, winning consistently over 2.5 months is no small feat. And yeah, are they as good as somebody in another more difficult conference? It doesn't matter. I think what matters is that they demonstrate in their environment that they're capable of winning. Now, we can have certain expectations around, strength of schedule is going to be a part of it. We can't just accept teams because they win. Well, then they could be, having a pretty relaxed schedule. And I don't agree to that, but I do think teams need to demonstrate they can win. And some places it's easier to to have a to do that, and others, no doubt. But like I said, consistently to do it consistently, I think is material and should be given a lot greater weight, I think, than it currently has. And again, and I think the other thing we have to take into account, and you you can't penalize teams for the conferences they're in, and there has to be, right, because it's not the doing of the school. They're just part of that conference. It's not the doings of the teams. They're just part of that conference, and that's the rules that they're playing in. And so I'll just say for the long term in MPI, I think we have to give more consideration to, distributing the bids out in a more equitable manner. I don't like lopsided. If I wanted I hate to say it, this is terrible, but if I wanted a NESCAC tournament final, I would have watched the NESCAC tournament. All right, and I think that's just my 2 cents. I don't, and you know what? And it's funny because there's teams that, you know, they're all justified to one degree or another, and they showed they can play. Don't get me wrong, but I just think we have to think a little bit more broader picture on how we go about making these selections. So yeah. So I will just leave it at that. I'm sure everyone's got their opinion, and so really would appreciate your comments. Not sure if it's accurate. That's just my quick assessment right now. I'm sure I'll change my mind in 2 months after the tournament and say, oh, how great it is. But moving on. One of the things I like to do and assess, especially when it comes to my rankings, which try to look at teams, well, as I say, over their entire body of work. Are they flashes in the pan? Do they deserve such a high ranking? I try to be much, I'll just say even in the top, I'll say 15, I try to be a lot more consistent than probably others, where if I think they're good and they're showing they can play and they have a hiccup, I'm not going to penalize them by dropping out of the rankings. Makes it kind of hard, especially as I'm introducing teams into the rankings, because it takes a whole life of its own. So, but I always look to see like where I missed. Where have I missed at this stage in the game? And I mean, knowing the the Elite Eight right now, I'm not too certain. I'm pretty certain that or excuse me, the Final Four. I'm pretty certain that I haven't missed anybody. So I just figured I would talk a little bit about the first team I clearly missed. And I watched them and I thought they were good, but I just didn't think that they had it within them to win as well as they did. And probably obviously the shocker in their defeat of Tufts was Buffalo State. They have some talented players, no doubt. They're pretty well organized defensively, and I think that's what made it hard for Tufts. Not to mention, I think, the one game where they can't break the cellophane on the goal. Right, it was a perfect storm, but Buffalo State earned its right to be where it was at. So, and deserved to be at that game against Tufts. So that was my first one. The other one I sort of dabbled in, and I'll be honest with you, is I'm still not sure, is Babson. Did well, great tournament run, really good during the season. This is going to sound terrible, but they struck me as a better Williams from a couple years ago. Right? Like, just being opportunistic. And again, I'm not taking merit away from him, but from my standpoint, what I watched, that's sort of what I noticed. So The other one I kind of missed. At least I'll say I missed the resurgence was Washington and Lee. It's now in the Final Four. I was not anticipating that they would. I thought they looked atrocious that first 4 or 5 games that I just sort of wrote them off and watched them a couple times thereafter, and then wasn't fully tuned into, like I said, their resurgence, and I think I missed that one out. Missed that one. The other one, I wouldn't say I missed out. I've been following them and I've been watching, and this is one where the rankings make it difficult for me. Is Dickinson? I think they can play and they've done really well, in particular this season. Just can't put my finger on it again. One of those just purely gut. Like they're good and all. I think I expect more out of a team like that. I think they handle the teams that they should handle, but I don't know. But this is definitely, for as far as they went, I was totally oblivious to Dickinson and how united in purpose they were, which I totally missed out on. So, and then lastly, the other one, which, and it's funny because I always say, like, I always talk about the soccer coming out of Wisconsin, right? And how good the soccer is, the talent level in the schools, right? Everyone knows Platteville and Eau Claire, just really, national level teams. So another one, Wisconsin Superior, totally blindsided by them. Again, I was aware of them. I watched them. I just didn't put two and two together that this was a team that could, make a showing. And so that was the last team. I'm sure I'll have more as I continue to assess the season, but those are my initial stabs of what are the teams that I overlooked. And like I said, I'm sure I missed some others. I'm sure I put more weight in others because I thought they would do better. They just, like, as an example, at one point I dismissed Messiah, and they go into conference play and blow the conference out and then make it to the NCAAs. Now, do I think I missed them? No. Do I think they have the luxury of playing in a conference that might not be up to their level? Yes. But, right, they turned around at the time where I was just basically, I think I'm done sort of tracking them. So, all right, so that was it. That's the teams I missed. Okay, another tournament that was going on, and Division III has its NIT tournament, is the ECAC, Eastern Collegiate Athletic Conference, that does a not in tournament tournament, and so you see teams that don't make the NCAAs participate in this NIT style tournament. They play, I think, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then they play a championship game. And yeah, it's just really interesting to see. And then this year on the women's side, the team that I said last year to really watch out for, because I do think this is a team that can really position itself as a top 20 team consistently. The Hartford Hawks, the women beat Springfield 6-0, and I think this year is their first full NCAA Division III status. Before they were considered Division I. So they won the ECAC women's tournament, so good on them. And the other team another team that I've been saying for quite some time to keep an eye out for was Juniata, that beat Rutgers Newark 3-1. Brendan Grady, who's the head coach, this is his, I believe, his fourth year. He was an assistant at Swarthmore for a number of years and moved over, like I said, 4 years ago. And you know, his first year he went 5-8-2. Never a team that made, I'll just say, waves in the landmark. In 2022 they went 8-9-1. In 2023 they went 6-9-1, and then in 2024 they went 13-3-6 and lost to Catholic University in the Landmark Conference Championship. They lost 2-1. And this year, they just so happened to make it to the ECAC finals and beat Rutgers Newark 3-1 and are the ECAC champs. And I think that you'll continue to see this team grow and become much more of a presence in the Landmark Conference. And I would anticipate that they will win that at some point in the next couple of years. So that's the ECAC, and there were actually some good games. I think that Juniata McDaniel game was pretty good. I think it was that. That's the game I watched. And then finally, I figure I would do this now. Sorry, phone is ringing. Okay, so I figured I would end this video really quick, just talking about something. So it is Thanksgiving that I'm recording this on, and a gray, dreary Thanksgiving day. And on November 24th was the third year of All Things Division III Soccer, the YouTube channel. You know, I always talk about it. Started out with me counting passes and doing a really bad video that you could still see of the, does passing matter in Division III? And, since that time, I've done almost 900 videos, 858 videos. I've probably spoken to over 100 coaches in different interviews. As of now, I think I have 1,649 subscribers. There's a website, all things d3soccer.fans. And along the way, I met some remarkable people who have sort of made this more than I ever could have anticipated. Nicholas Petru, Paul Newman, of the New Show fame, just a remarkable guy and supporter of Division III, and in particular Kenya. My heart bleeds for him. Eric, EJ, for the EJ's weekly picks that we did this year. Just an absolute blast. Another great supporter of the game. And then behind the scenes, who you haven't seen, is Jim Hutchinson, who is responsible for the game schedules that we've been able to have, and video links and all that information on d3soccer.fans. Without him, I'm not sure it materializes. So on this day of Thanksgiving, I'll just say that is where my gratitude lies in the soccer world, with those gentlemen and all of you who have continued to support this. All of you have chimed in and sent me welcome messages about Jackie and chimed in, agree or disagree throughout the past 3 years. And I'm hoping over the next 3 years we'll continue to do what we're doing and only get better and bigger and badder. Yeah, I don't know. But with that, just want to say thanks all. I hope you have had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and hopefully we will connect soon. In the meantime, you know all this stuff. Subscribe, like, alert, comment down below, shoot me an email, whatever you want to do. Find me on the boards. Try to respond whenever I can. I can get to it. So with that, see you in the next one.